In the previous chapters, we have discussed the lesser banishing ritual of the Pentagram and a few of its better known variants. This is because we cannot stress the value of this ritual enough, both as a ritual itself, but also as a convergence point of occult symbolism. Aleister Crowley once said, "Those who regard this ritual as a mere device to invoke or banish spirits are unworthy to possess it. Properly understood, it is the medicine of metals and the stone of the wise." The lesser banishing ritual may have lesser in the name, but in reality, it is the greatest ritual of all, as it contains the template for other circle-type rituals which litter the systems of Golden Dawn and Thelema, and can be found in many different cultures and traditions throughout time. Most practitioners fall somewhere on a spectrum ranging from superstitious to iconoclastic, and it is for this reason that the serious student should create their own variant of the lesser banishing ritual, using names and symbols important to your own personal mythological symbol system and/or religious aesthetic. Peter Carroll also discusses how to create your own custom banishing ritual in Liber Null, though the template is somewhat sparse. We shall elaborate on the technique of developing your own custom ritual of the Pentagram in this video, which is itself the postmodern deconstructivist ritual of the Pentagram. Step 0. Facing. East is typically the preferred direction in most collegiate Western occult systems. However, in many more pedestrian settings, the most important direction is north, or perhaps in the direction of some specific location considered sacred to that tradition. 1. The Declaration. It is typical in this ritual to begin with a standard declaration of intent. In this case, the banishment of any unwanted forces that may pollute our experiment. 2. Humeric harmonization. The operator then performs a small internal ritual designed to align their etheric energies, activate their magic powers, and protect their spiritual organs from assault. This can be something like the Kabbalistic cross, the middle pillar ritual, pranic breathing, or Kundalini activation. 3. The Sigille. It is at this point in the ritual that the pentagrams are drawn, and if the composer wishes to use pentagrams, it is highly recommended they use banishing earth pentagrams unless they are specifically attempting to banish a particular element, which should not be necessary, as the banishing earth pentagram is sufficient to banish spirits of any element whatsoever. However, if the pentagram is not drawn but only visualized, there is no reason it couldn't be imagined as a completed shape, therefore not requiring a specific stroke order. It should be mentioned, however, that one not need to use pentagrams, but could use smudges, crosses, or even personalized sigils in their place. Ideally, it should be a symbol of power, force, or protection. 4. The names. As the sigils are erected, the magician vibrates magical words or god names. These should, of course, be replaced in your custom ritual, but one shouldn't just use any names, as there is quite a large difference between the names that occur in this part of the ritual and the names that occur later. In the Lesser Banishing ritual, these names are tetragrammatae, one of several names for the singular God of Abraham, each consisting of 4 letters and having such deep symbolism that each name is less a name and more of a formula. In the Star Ruby, each name is that of a specific deity in the Thelemic mythological landscape, each one corresponding to a member of the court of the tarot, king, queen, son, and daughter, which are seen as aspects of a universal and therefore singular entity. 5. The Circle. It is at this time that we turn to each compass direction, repeating the process of erecting the barrier and intoning the words, and is up to the student to decide if they will turn Deossel or Widdershins. Many variants of the Lesser Banishing ritual will change the direction to a counterclockwise spin, as this direction is more typically associated with banishing, as we have discussed, whilst clockwise is usually associated with invoking. 6. T-pose. When the circle is completed, the magician then stands in the center in a T-pose to release the magical energy within the body into the space that has been created with the barrier of sigils. It is for this reason that the T-pose mimics the shape of the Kabbalistic cross, only larger. Crowley, with his flair for the dramatic, decided to embellish this section by adding more dance steps, while Carroll removed it entirely, probably in an attempt to remove as many crosses from the ritual as possible. Though a T-pose is simple and entirely sufficient, there may be some reason the composer may wish to add additional gestures at this point, though it is recommended that the shape of this attitude be related to the form of whatever gestures are used to replace the Kabbalistic cross. 7. The Guardians. We then call upon the second set of names, which are more like proper names and far less abstract than the god names in the first section. In the Lesser Banishing ritual, these are the names of archangels which govern over the specific compass directions, whereas in the Star Ruby, they are the names of classifications of spirits from which a sorcerer could recruit familiars or servitors. They are meant to represent active agents in the quarters, unlike god names in the previous section, which impart more of a passive, general magical energy. 8. Affirmation of the hexagram. Optional. With the circle now completely formed, the practitioner affirms that the ritual is complete. This segment can be removed or embellished as desired. 9. Humeric reharmonization. To close the ritual, perform a reprise of the Humeric harmonization used at the opening. It is again worth mentioning that it is desirable that the shape of this gesture be related in some way to the gesture given in the center of the ritual. Ideally, a smaller or microcosmic version of the same shape, as this has the added benefit of compressing the sphere created by the ritual and internalizing it, whether you continue your greater ceremony or return to the mundane activities.